Okay.
Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and we're at the threshold of two eclipses, the first two eclipses of 2025. One is in Virgo, one is in Aries, and here to lead us through the spiritual side of the eclipses, not so much like world predictions, but more like what it personally means from evolutionary astrology for you, for the evolution of your soul is evolutionary astrologer Mila. Hello, Mila.
Hi, Lada. Nice to be with you again. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm always excited to hear your perspective, your very high-minded, higher perspective on the big astrological events. And you're also offering people who want to dig a bit deeper how the eclipses will affect them personally, a discount on a reading with you. I'm putting a link below in the description if you like Mila's energy. And she's also a channeler, not just an astrologer. If you want to connect with her, get more insights about the direction and the evolution of your life and so you can connect with her. She's offering her first discount on for our viewers, so I'm excited. But what do these two eclipses have in store from us? We're usually quite scared from eclipses from traditional point of view of astrology because it's like fated events, deaths, births, marriages, divorces, people changing jobs, health issues. So, yeah, what would you tell us from evolutionary perspective, the soul's
Well,
journey?
I mean, it's very interesting with these eclipses because we've just had the new moon in Pisces, which was not an eclipse, but 6 months ago in September, we had the first full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which was an eclipse, and the nodes at the time were still in Aries and Libra. And the one thing I want to mention before I dive deeper is the anomaly that we are having three lunar eclipses in Pisces. We already had one in September, but we having no lunar, no, sorry, yeah, three full moon lunar eclipses in Pisces, but no solar eclipse, no new moon in Pisces this time around. And with the Aries one, which is the last one we're going to have now on the March 29th, we had solar eclipses in Aries, but no lunar eclipse in Aries.
This
So
is
we have this
very
interesting anomaly
so,
that
so
we have.
what like full moon eclipses, they're about endings. Something has reached as much as it can. And they're in Pisces. And in Aries, it's new moon eclipses, which is new beginnings without
Exactly.
end. So a lot of new beginnings
Exactly.
in certain area of life, while closure where Pisces is without new beginning, but in Aries we have the new beginnings, wherever Aries falls in your horoscope.
Exactly. So we will not have the opposite. And the next time we're going to have only solar eclipses in Pisces. So we have the opposite in like next 8.5, 9 years time in 2032. So yeah, like 8 years time. So it's interesting because with this, obviously also what we experience in this eclipse is the first eclipse of 2025, but it's actually the final eclipse and the final lunation of this astrological year because next we'll have the equinox. So we'll have the beginning of Aries season where everything will reset. So we have again one eclipse that is ending an astrological year and one eclipse that is a beginning a new astrological year. So again, it's interesting how it's playing out over here. And also the fact that we have Neptune moving into the sign of Aries right after the eclipse in Aries and Mercury is just moving back into Pisces. It's like it's all happening. So technically what we can see happening here from the like micro, macro, whatever we want to look at, because both are mirroring each other. A lot of things are culminating in our life, and we can even see it in our everyday personal experience that for many of us, the things that we were willing to tolerate for many years or didn't pay so much attention are now becoming unbearable. And I can see that from my clients, like, well, like I can't go on like this anymore. Things have to change. So people are just not willing to take the same amount of dissatisfaction and unhappiness as they did before. And also that's why I feel this Virgo eclipse is so important, because also with this Venus retrograde at the moment, Mercury is stationing as the ruler of Virgo is stationing few hours after this eclipse in Virgo on the 15th, literally 24 hours, not even. And it's going to help us to reevaluate that, okay, if we want to create a different reality, different life for ourselves as individuals and as a collective humanity, what needs to change? Because we cannot create new life, new experience from the same level of consciousness, right? That was Einstein who said that if you keep doing the same thing, expect different result. That's the definition of insanity. So with Virgo, which in my personal understanding of interpretation is the human's journey, the hero's journey. Pisces is the spirit. Virgo is the spirit embodied to have a human experience through which we learn, grow, and evolve, as we know from the spiritual perspective. We came here to do multitude of things, but the main most important thing is the expansion of consciousness. So with this Virgo eclipse, which is the illumination, and interestingly enough, we know that the full moon is opposition to the new moon, right? And the new moon in Virgo, which happened on September 2nd, was the last new moon in Virgo with Pluto in Capricorn, because Pluto moved into Capricorn 2 days before the new moon in Virgo in September 2024. So Pluto was on 29 degrees 58 minutes, anaretic degree, and also Uranus just stationed retrograde at that time, right before. So we had all these final aspects of this Pluto in Capricorn, the transit that started in 2008, ended last year, which was Pluto dismantling the structure of reality as we knew it until this point. And Virgo is all about this. What are we learning? What are we adjusting? What is the takeaway from this transit? What is the takeaway from the previous cycle? Like, what do we want to keep and what do we want to like let go of? Because of course Virgo comes in opposition with the Pisces. So what do we wish to release because it no longer holds a meaning? So now we have the full moon in Virgo, which is an eclipse, and full moon is always about the illumination, like the midpoint, the Libra, the sun in opposition with the moon, which is about balancing. So what needs to change in order for the balance to be established? And what we experienced for many of us in personal life, but especially when we can see it on the collective, on the political scene and what's going on in the world, it's a lot of crises, a lot of imbalances. So that's why with this full moon lunar eclipse, it's showing us what needs to change, what needs to be adjusted. And Mercury going retrograde the following day, Mercury as the ruler, it's saying, okay, what level of consciousness we need to apply in order for us to experience reality differently, to make different choices, because Gemini is about choice, Virgo is about discernment. So Gemini gathers information because Mercury rules both, and then the Virgo discern, is this information useful to me? So we have a full moon, a lunar eclipse in Virgo saying, okay, we gathered a lot of data throughout human history until this point. What has been useful to us? What are we doing going forward? And also because of all the other things that are going on in the sky, especially predominantly Venus retrograde, because Venus, so also Mercury, they are conjuncting, well, Venus is conjuncting Saturn 3 times as well. Mercury is not conjuncting Saturn 3 times, but both of them are conjuncting North Node and Neptune 3 times, sextiling Pluto 3 times, and doing some other things 3 times. Like also Mars is trining North Node 3 times, trining Saturn 3 times, Neptune 3 times. There are a lot of triples. Like there are many, many aspects at the moment that are happening between the former rule of the South and the North Node, and also Mercury, and the evolutionary planets that are happening triple times. Plus the North Node is involved. So 3 is the number of expansion, is the number of Jupiter. Also in traditional astrology, third house is the Gemini house, the choice. So by the choice, we are now at the point of having the opportunity to choose in this year 9, the year of Hermit, which is represented by Virgo, year of Hermit. What are we doing with our lives and what choices we want to make to create different outcome? Because we know with Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn moving into Aries, Neptune moving into Aries, and Uranus moving into Gemini, back and forth this year, but fully 2026. And 2026 is the reset year, because 2 and 2 and 6 is the 10, which in tarot is the wheel of fortune, the destiny is turning, and 1 and a 0, which is the 0 is the 0 point, the unlimited potential, what it can become, the fool's journey, the beginning of incarnation, and the 1 is the magician, right? So what we want to manifest. So this year, and this is like really being kicked off with this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo because of the illumination of the consciousness, it's giving us the full spectrum of human experience, of what we experience until this point, Virgo, human's journey, hero's journey, and having the opportunity to decide what adjustments do I want to make in my life going forward to create different outcome. And this is for each individual to decide, because Pluto actually is still trine in the North Node, even though it's out of sign trine. So it has to have a deeper meaning. It's no longer with this Uranus on the final degrees of Taurus moving to Gemini this summer. It is no longer about survival. It is no longer about seeking validation and sense of value and self-worth in the external, because we had the South Node in Libra. So it's no longer about what somebody else is saying you should be doing, how you should be living life. And there is this growing sense of dissatisfaction in people, especially since Pluto moving into Aquarius, because people want to individuate, they want to be authentic, they want to be themselves, they want to just live their life, they don't want to be told what to do. It's a Saturn in Pisces. People, not everyone, but most people, they don't want somebody to tell them, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that, and also continuously carry the pressure of the societal expectation that if you don't do this, and this, you as a human failed. Like, I mean, how much more with the Virgo sense of guilt and shame do we want to carry going forward? So there are all these adjustments that are, happening on individual and collective, scene, because the collective at the moment, predominantly, especially the mainstream media, offers the contrast that, oh, this is what we don't want. For many people, when they watch mainstream media, when they watch news, they don't feel very good, and that's because us as a humanity, we outgrown this kind of behavior, we outgrown this energy, because with the North Node in Pisces, we want a deeper meaning. We want to reconnect with the true essence of who we are and what we came here to do. You would like to add something, Lada?
Ah, no, no, I'm listening.
No, no, no. I think that maybe you would like to, reflect, maybe.
Oh, you caught me off guard.
Because you of the guy. I mean, I can keep
I'm
going,
looking
but
from
just
traditional astrology perspective, and it's about, because Virgo is definitely about seeing what's not working and being a discrimination, and Saturn is exactly opposing from Pisces this eclipse, and it's about some
mm,
hard choices that I see it, people seeing exactly why some things are not working, how they're being done wrong, and correcting it, because Saturn wants to correct things, to fix things, and Virgo is about seeing exactly those small defects and why it's not, how it's not working. So I just want to warn people, they might feel more critical of themselves.
mm,
They might feel more that others are more critical because it's an opposition from Saturn towards them. But to pay attention, because there is, even in hard criticism, there will be some truth. Not to take it too personally, but to apply whatever it might be. And I think it's also a very good time to, because Virgo is connected to health habits and to quit bad habits, for example. Uh, Not necessarily just food, but the daily habits of any sorts, because Saturn will give perseverance, longevity to those efforts. And even this very strong dissatisfaction, almost tipping point where I can't deal with this anymore. So I'll change
mm.
it, because Virgo is about this improving health, your daily routines and habits, introducing even removing old ones, because full moon is more about removing old ones, that are not
Yeah.
working. And on a material level, I think working class people is Virgo, and working conditions around the world. There's something big is going to be happening and is happening around that, jobs uh, and the medical professions, Pisces, Virgo. I think because I'm talking not evolutionary perspective, because I'm more like a predictive astrologer, so
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
look what's happening in the medical world with the look what's happening also in the working classes, like jobs and stuff like that, um, and look what is happening also, of course, um, a lot of Pisces energy with water as well. We have to be careful about that as well. But yeah, that's how I see this Virgo eclipse. That's why I'm curious about more the evolutionary perspective, like you say.
Yeah, and we can also share the chart if that would help people to get the
Yep.
visual. Um,
Can you?
just yeah. I'm just switching the screen because I had it on a um,
I'd say it might be a good time to do some spring cleaning, with this Virgo energy eclipse. That might be a great remedy. Just clean up the space around and organize things a bit. And Saturn is also the energy of cleaning, of organizing. So, wow, yeah, that's a very powerful opposition.
Yeah, and we also have, I mean, there is the stellium between Pisces and Aries. So, as we already mentioned, a lot of things are ending, a lot of things are beginning. But because the Venus and Mercury, well, Venus already is retrograde, Mercury is stationing, as we said, the day after on the 15th, there is a lot of back and forth.
Hmm.
So we can see the totality of what was, and we not yet see much of a new manifested because the new is not yet in a form. Because even with Aries, Aries to me is very much like Ace of Wands in tarot. It's the sparkle of inspiration, but it's not yet manifested. It doesn't have a form. So I feel, especially from Taurus season, we will start seeing things moving forward. And I know for many of us, we've experienced these first 3 months of this year, even though it's crazy to think we already like one quarter through 2025 almost. But these 3 months were very introspective for many people, like a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner work. Whereas I feel the energy will be much more forward moving, especially from Taurus season, because that's when
From
most
from the
people,
end of April, basically. Yeah.
yeah,
So
because that's
then
when
it's like a slow, it's heavy and slow.
it is, but at least the planets will be direct, and then slowly, slowly, they will be starting to come out of their shadow. You know, Mercury at the end of April, and then Venus and Mars in May. So, and but then Pluto goes retrograde, of course, May. But anyway, staying with this eclipse, we can see the Sun Saturn conjunction, which is taking place only 2 days before the eclipse, and also this Venus is going to conjunct Neptune again. Mercury just had a conjunction with Venus now on the 11th, and also both Venus and Mercury are going to conjunct North Node 2 more times, also Neptune, and Venus also Saturn in other times. So there is a lot of back and forth. And I also see the Saturn in Pisces as an opportunity to free ourselves from the past karma, because Saturn in Pisces is like the totality. And for many people, especially, this is how I understand it, and this is the downloads I received with regards to this, and I shared with my clients, and many of them resonate. And because a lot of my clients are light workers, so many people are going through the same experience, where we feel that there are people who were born to create the new Earth, and there are people who, everybody's got a role to play. Everybody's role is important, no better or worse. And then people who came to hold on to the tradition, and people who came here to play the contrast, the shadow players, and so the rest of it and stuff like that. So I feel very strongly that people who came here to contribute more towards creating of the new, this year we are like clearing the old. We like clearing the closet, and Virgo, like you said, clearing. We clearing the closet. So I feel this full moon in Virgo is really showing to us, okay, what needs to be cleared, to make space, because we know we cannot put any more stuff in a wardrobe is if it's full. You cannot pull into the empty cup. If it's full with something you don't want to drink, you cannot pull something you do want to. You have to empty it, right? So I feel that that's what's becoming very conscious to many people, especially because of the retrogrades, Venus coming up, Mercury. Venus is our needs, values, essentials, our relational dynamics. So a lot of people are reevaluating that, okay, if I want this different experience, mundane experience even, like if I want to live my day differently, if I want to feel differently about my job, about my husband, about my relationship with my children, whatever, what needs to change? And we know that we cannot change something outside of us. We can try to control it, but we cannot really change other people. We can influence them, but we cannot change them. They have to want to change themselves. But we can change ourselves and our response to the situation and our approach to the situation, also our perception of the situation. This is all connected to this Mercury. How do we identify what's going on? What is the language around it? What is the label we attach to it? So I feel that's why Mercury is still direct during the full moon, but then going retrograde, because it will be an opportunity to like reevaluate inwardly, because retrograde planet is always inward focus, like what is not working, what is and what isn't, because it's not like it's all bad, but also because this disseminating square, like Jupiter is not technically squaring the eclipse, but it's still within 10-degree orb, so it's still kind of active. There is a lot of pressure with regards to our belief system, like a lot of outdated belief systems are coming up, and then there is an opportunity to choose, like, do I want to hold on to this story or do I want to change it? So with the Virgo is very practical, just like you said. There are a lot of things people can do, just make small adjustments in everyday reality reality, okay, a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed, a lot of people are feeling afraid. So what can I do for myself every day, small thing that would make me feel a little bit better? You know, do I need to give myself more time to go for a walk, to be with my dog or a cat, to take a bubble bath, to take like small things that everybody can afford? It doesn't have to be massage every day, going to a spa or something, but everybody knows what is that thing that makes them feel a little bit better, you know, especially if it's something that is not like then affecting them in a negative way, in a different way. But what are these little things that we all can do for ourselves, you know, like going to bed a little bit earlier, or waking up a little bit earlier so you can meditate, or, you know, do a little bit of stretching, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, that you feel like I can, you know, I have a control over this, so I can make this adjustment, and it's something that gives me this little bit of a better feeling, because we cannot change what's going on in the world. We can change this as a collective, but me personally, I cannot go and stop the war, right? So there are things that we can worry about, but we can't change. And there are things that we can change. So then, you know, like there is a little bit less to worry about. So also, just like you said, that there are a lot of things that people can, in a sense, detox from. A lot of that is also connected to information. What are we consuming? Because many people are spending great amount of time worrying about things they cannot control that are affecting them, and then they feel like they're spinning wheels, you know, because there is not much I can do about it right here, right now. So what can I do in my everyday reality to make my life a little bit better? So then I have the energy to deal with the big things. So that's what I feel. A lot of this is becoming illuminating with this eclipse and with the Saturn, like I started saying. Saturn in Pisces close into the sun, which is technically, I mean, it's a new phase with regards to the cycle, because they just had a conjunction 2 days prior. But as a static point in the sky, we would say Saturn is in a balsamic closing phase conjunction with Sun, which is there are the external authority and your life playing out in a way where we are looking out to someone else to give our life a sense of meaning. That's ending. That's now feeling void of meaning. So this is where this Mars in Cancer now obviously post retrograde. So we already had the reevaluation, digestion, and now we're going forward, even though Mars in Cancer obviously not very fast, but it's trining the Saturn and the Sun and the North Node. Obviously not yet exact, but you know, it's trining it, and also it's sextiling, technically still 5-degree orb sextile in the eclipse. So it's all, the answers are within. It's all about how you feel. How does anything you experience, and how does it make you feel, and what choices you are willing to make, or what changes you are willing to make in your life to feel a little bit better. You know, it's not about being Pollyanna and feeling like on a cloud nine all the time. That's not what we're talking about, but the things that we can make small adjustments in everyday reality to give us a more sense of stability. Because with this Uranus in Taurus, as we were saying, moving into Gemini this summer, things are going to get a little bit more hectic, you know, because Uranus in Taurus, you know, like we can say a lot of things about Uranus in Taurus, but it's still more grounded. When Uranus goes to Gemini, and obviously Mercury, we know, is exalted in Aquarius, the things are going to moving faster, right? So at the moment, we still have like much more slower momentum. For some people, it could be frustrating that things are not moving or changing fast enough. But on the other side, it gives us the opportunity to ground and make the adjustments while things are not going crazy fast, because then when things start speeding up, then it will be much harder to make a lot of changes, because the momentum will be already ongoing. So that's what I mean. These first 3-4 months of these years are the opportunity for people to establish new habits, let go of the old habits, you know, create new routines that are supportive to them. Virgo is all about everyday routine and, you know, doing useful things and stuff. And this is why we have the personal planets, Mercury, you know, next day moving retrograde. We have a little bit more time until mid-April. Venus is retrograde until the full moon in Libra until 12th of April, Mercury till the 7th. So we have a little bit more time, because then things will start moving forward. And yeah, in Taurus season we can say they're slow, but that's where we put the roots down. That's the seeds, and then they start growing. So yeah, so I feel
I've been feeling it like because I'm usually go go go, but I said to you, I'm not going till the middle of April with all those retrogrades, with all the Pisces energy that will even escalate in April. Venus and Mercury moving back there. So I just try to do the bare minimum. I try not to plan ahead too much right now, and to
yeah.
stick to those Virgo eclipse, energies like today I'll do 30 minutes. I might jump a bit on the trampoline. I might do some YouTube Pilates, but just every day at least 30 minutes to have some routine and try to rest more. I'm really feeling this energy of needing to rest more while keeping things organized. It's so important. I'm feeling it. It's so important. Even the kids, they get it like we have to clean up. And every day we clean up for 30 minutes and they're feeling the buildup of this Virgo eclipse as well, and I'm loving it for them. A kid at 6 to tell you let's clean up and to help.
They are Pluto Capricorns, they have different wiring.
Yeah.
you know but this is very natural because I mean especially for you personally because you are in your 12th house prior to your solar return reset, so that makes complete sense that you are more like introspective. But I mean even for everyone else, because we are in Pisces season, which is the final month of the former astrological year, so it is very natural for people to feel a little bit subdued and like, okay, well, I don't have much energy to do anything. And of course, if people are in the northern hemisphere, it's like, oh my God, how much longer for this winter? When is the spring coming finally?
That's what's called
So,
also always around March, the Pisces energy comes, what's called spring tiredness. People have felt that this is the energy of Pisces, really, this
yeah,
Pisces
yeah.
sleeping, rest. And that's when people are most susceptible to viruses, to detoxing through flus, and everyone is sick around. And so the resistance is a bit low of the body. Uh, and yeah, so we have to be aware. That's why it's so critical with this full moon eclipse in Virgo to keep some kind of a, like, for example, every day I would add one scoop of a detox green mix with spirulina and barley or something. And
Mm-mm.
I'll just walk for 30 minutes or jump or do Pilates. It's something simple to ground yourself, the Virgo grounded energy, and to a little bit strengthen that immunity and not to feel like like I'm dragging myself through the whole day without direction.
But that's what I mean. And then people feel more in control of their life because there are small things that they
Yeah,
can do. So
yeah,
they feel
yeah.
more accomplished. Like, oh my God, I can do this.
Exactly.
So,
Just washing the plates, I feel accomplished. Seriously. I mean, doing a course that sells to 1,000 people, I almost feel the same satisfaction as when I do the dishes. So after I work out for 30 minutes. So you don't need to do big things because I'm honest that after doing the big things, the sense of accomplishment is almost it's even to doing the small things every day. So you can feel it in everyday life with very small actions.
yeah, and it's also with the North Node in Pisces, like it holds deeper meaning because you can see the results straight away with the Virgo, it's a practical thing.
Yes.
Cool. And then, let's just look at this solar eclipse in Aries, the final one for this cycle, because we will not have another one until 32. So we can see that here we have Mars squaring the eclipse. And Mars obviously will be the ruler because Aries. And this is with regards to Mars and the Sun, or Mars and the eclipse. This is the first quarter square, which is the crisis in action. So what needs to change in order for us to create this new cycle or to bring this new cycle into manifestation? And because Mars is still in this stage, it's still in the sign of Cancer, but it's on Piscean decan, and this I believe is the Capricorn degree. We need to I feel that this is very important component which becomes much more exaggerated once Jupiter moves into the sign of Cancer in June, that we need to learn to work with our emotions in a more masterful way. So we don't allow something external of us, for example, like news, to completely put us to the bed because we get so depressed or so angry or so out of balance that we cannot even live our life anymore or something like that. So I feel with this new moon in Aries, and we can see this Mercury on analytic 0 degrees, Neptune on analytic 29 degrees. As I already mentioned, Neptune is moving into a sign of Aries for the first time in our lifetime the following day on the 30th, and Mercury and Neptune are actually having conjunction later on the 29th when this eclipse is taking place on 29 degrees and 59 minutes. So Mercury is moving into the sign of Pisces the very same day, and they will have their second conjunction on 29 degrees 59 minutes, which is pretty wild. And also we can see here Venus coming into her conjunction with North Node, which is happening on April 1st, and then so it goes. So a lot of things are kind of in the same place, but not really. And the main thing that's changed, obviously, is this Mars squaring rather than, in this case of the lunar eclipse, we had the sextile and the trine to the sun and sextile to the moon, so to the Virgo eclipse. So yeah, so there will be a little bit more pressure being felt here because with the Virgo, it's like it's an illumination. So it's say like, okay, now you can see what needs to change, what needs to be adjusted, what did we learn, what did we not learn, or whatever, like again, like Lada said, not to be too critical to ourselves because would we never make mistakes, we would never learn anything. So mistake is a take that didn't take root. Mistake is a take that wasn't the successful one. Just like when people make movies, right? Like the cinematographers and stuff, they very hardly ever make it on the first go. There is multiple retakes. So it's like that, that's why we reincarnate all the time, because every next time we reincarnate, we try to do things better. We try to approach the situations differently because the level of consciousness has risen since the last time we were around. And that's why the next generation of children, every next generation already like has the tools for everything that we battled with, because Pluto moved with every next generation. Pluto moves, but anyway, that's going into completely different rabbit hole over there. But yes, with the Aries, it's all about new beginnings. But like I mentioned, this is the final solar eclipse in Aries. We had no lunar eclipse in Aries at all this time around, so we will not have a lunar eclipse in Aries until 2032, and that will be then on South Node, because at that time the South Node will be in Aries, not the North Node like we had last year. So
But it
this
seems
will
like
be a
there'll
different.
be new beginnings that will not have closure till 2030 something.
I would say until 2042, we have the next solar eclipse or lunar eclipse in Aries on the North Node. So, I mean, that is still just the midpoint.
I
So,
know though, this lunar eclipse, the eclipses in Aries with the south node can end stuff, but usually, yeah, this is the last one with north node, so new things are coming. We don't have a closure with the lunar eclipse there, so they might stay for a long time in your life, whatever comes in the
well,
next.
for me, it's really connected to the Pluto in Aquarius, because, of course, we had the Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius back and forth. Well, I mean, while the North Node was still in Taurus, but then it moved into the sign of Aries. And we know that Mars is like I don't like polarizing it in this way, but it's like a lower octave of Pluto, just like we have Mercury. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. So Mars is how Pluto acts consciously through our everyday action. We are evolving, because Pluto is the soul's desire for incarnation, because we want to expand, we want to evolve. So yeah, so I feel that there is definitely a connection with regards to these Aries eclipses, which were just solar eclipses, new moon, a conception of a new energy, and Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, because we will not understand Pluto in Aquarius fully until Pluto is done with Aquarius, which is 2043, 2044. Pluto will have its first ingress into the sign of Pisces in 43 and then move fully there in 2044. So I feel that's when we really will understand what these new moon solar eclipses in Aries brought through for us. So we will be manifesting it for the next 20 years. And again, because Aquarius is all about individuations, Leo as an opposition is about authenticity. It will look differently for different people because it depends on the individual choices we will be making, how we want to work with this energy. And what just caught my eyes is again this Pluto 330, free and free. So there is a lot of these free energies, which is all about this co-creation, collaboration, and expansion through learning. Because also in tarot, the major arcana, the number 3 is the Empress, which is the new Earth, creating the foundation for the new Earth. So to me, all these eclipses, these are like, as you know, Lada, cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles, but we can see like what really is happening with regards to evolution for the humanity is that the tide is changing. We will never go back to how we were before 2020, and we don't know what's coming. We don't know exactly what the world will look like in 5, 10, 20 years time. So it is oh, we have an extra joiner, Pluto Capricorn.
You've done
So
now.
no, there is a good to have this new energy because they have much more idea about what's gonna be going on in 20 years than we do. They already come equipped with the blueprint for the future. Pluto Capricorns, they are the leaders of the new Earth.
Oh.
So
Oh.
yes, mean, I have four nephews, nieces, and they don't need to be told. They already know everything.
I know the little dictators.
Boss babies, right? The boss
Those
babies, and
babies, exactly. That's the generation
let's
going
wait for the Pluto Aquarius is when they're more expressive because they're all babies at the moment. But yeah, let's see in few years' time how they will be expressing themselves. But yeah, like I mean, just generally, big picture, we are in a change of the we are experiencing the change of tides for the humanity, for the evolution of the humanity. At the moment, we are in the in between, especially this year, where we have a lot of reevaluation. People are deciding for themselves what they want to do with their life, where they want to go. In some cases, small adjustments will be made. In some cases, huge adjustments will be made. I know for me, I'm coming up to my first Pluto square on Monday. So there are a lot of things changing. And I know it's the same for a lot of people because many people, everybody's affected in some way. It doesn't matter. I mean, what are your signs? Everybody's affected because when you have a North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo, this is like the collective energy because it's the spirit being incarnate into the form. And that's all of us that are walking the planet Earth at this time, being in an incarnate form. So everybody's experiencing something. And this is all to help us to grow and evolve, even though the way of getting there might not always be comfortable. So that's why we have a lot of Pisces, which is like we need to create a spiritual practice that is helping us to feel more connected. For some people, it's through escapism, but that's all just a temporary fix. But something that, like we said, we can establish something through Virgo, everyday routine, that is helping us to feel more connected to ourselves, to our own sense of inner authority, to something deeper and higher than just our mind, right? The spirit, and gives a deeper meaning. And then with the Aries, that new cycle that is being birthed with the solar eclipse, the final one for this time round on 8 degrees, which is the degree of Saturn. And well, I mean, it's the Scorpio in astrology, but the number 8 is connected to Saturn and Jupiter. So it's like the abundance and expansions because you worked for it, right? Saturn doesn't just reward just because you say so, right? That's why we know it's that second Saturn return is much easier than the first Saturn return when people are before 30 and then people are before 60, like 56, 58, right? So it's completely different experience because you earned it. But I mean, now with Saturn in Pisces, it's no longer about, it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be a grind, but it has to be connected. It has to be half-centered and it has to hold a meaning and it has to hold a meaning for all. So I feel like with this Virgo and then Aries, it is what is changing for humanity most and foremost is to becoming of a service through doing something that is actually enjoyable. So it's no longer through sacrifice, but it's through people becoming more aware about who they are, what they want, what makes them happy, and to contribute towards planet and to contribute towards bettering of each other in a way that's actually meaningful and that makes them happy. Like when we know that when people do something they love, it doesn't feel like a job, even though it doesn't have to be easy, but it's more meaningful and purposeful. And that's what I feel many people are seeking at this time. And especially once Mars goes back into the sign of Leo after he's been in Cancer forever, people will feel it much more deeply because this is the time when we're reconnecting with our emotions. Like I said, Mars here is squaring this eclipse. So it's creating a lot of pressure, a lot of tension. And the black moon Lilith, it's creating a lot of pressure for people to really dig deep inside of themselves, like how what I'm experiencing in my life right now is making me feel, and what do I want to manifest going forward. And then that when you allow your inner compass to guide you, it will take you exactly where you're meant to go. So we no longer like swimming against the stream and paddling so hard like Abraham Hicks would say, but we just allowing the life to take us where we always were meant to go. So I feel more and more people are seeking that, like what is the deeper connection that would take us to this destination that would be more enjoyable, which again will be different for different people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mila. I switched back to your face to see you a bit. You're more beautiful than the charts.
Oh, thank
Now
you.
that the huge changes are happening in your own personal life, so congratulations for that as well. And may it all pass smoothly. It's still, a bit slow because of all the retrogrades, but things turn around during all those.
Yeah, things are happening for everyone. I truly believe that it might be happening in different areas of people's life, but I feel that everyone is going through something right here, right now.
And in one big phase of life,
Yeah.
preparing for the new beginning that this Pisces Aries energy is giving us. Thank you, Mila. And again, Mila is offering a discount on her personal readings with you. She can lead you through whatever matters you have, blockages that you have. As I said, a lot of her readings, there's a lot of channeling happening there for you. And I'll put the link below if you want to connect with Mila. And thank you so much for this perspective, Mila, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Lada, and thank you everyone for watching. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.